Hi, boys and girls. How you doing today? It's Ronald McDonald, your friend, and boy, gosh, by golly, we're going to have a lot of fun today. I mean, I was like, who was the guy in the Third Reich who was the propaganda minister? You know, that's what I was, you know, Ronald McDonald. Kids love him, and they don't know why they love him. They love him because they were told to love him, and somebody paid somebody to make them love him. I mean, anybody can really manipulate a child, you know, this is not that difficult. And I just went home one night and I said, no, I cannot do this. I can't live with myself if I continue to do this. I was the pinnacle. I was the zenith. I was the godhead of meat eating on planet Earth. And not only was I Ronald McDonald, but previous to that, and I'm the only man who holds this dubious distinction, I was the marvelous, magical Burger King. And I used to sing, I'm the marvelous, magical Burger King. I can do most anything. I like magic and food that's fun. We got fun for everyone. I once went to a town called Bellevue, Ontario, and they had let school out for the day. And there were literally, I don't know, 10, 15, 20,000 kids. My road manager called it Ronald stock. And, you know, I had one little microphone and little corny little needle through a balloon magic tricks and stuff, and nobody could see or hear anything. But, I mean, it was like a national holiday. It was like the president or the prime minister had come to town, Ronald McDonald. And that's the kind of hero worship that only good money can buy. You got to pay for that. It's called brainwashing. We were told that if they asked, that the hamburgers grow in a patch with the French fries next to them. One thing I should tell you, no expense is spared here. I'm a graduate of McDonald's University. I had the best people, man. I had dance teachers, and I beat out 400 people for Burger King and 600 people for Ronald McDonald. I had to undergo unofficial testing, psychological testing. I was never allowed to eat the food, thank God, because that would be sort of unseemly and could mess the makeup, I guess, to see, they don't like you to really think of it as food, it's fun. I'll tell you one thing they did say to me, that who is it that controls the disposable income of a family? It's not mommy and daddy, it's the kids. So you just have to appeal, you know, it's just appeal to the kids and they'll tell you, oh, we want to go to McDonald's. I'm telling you, that the majority of the kids I ran across were not aware that what they were eating had anything to do with a ground-up dead animal body. At least lay it on the table. Okay, this is what it is, kids. It's a dead cow and a dead fish and a dead chicken, and we don't give a damn how they live for that brief life because they only live to take us, the McDonald's Corporation, to the end that we desire, which is your money. People might think that I'm overstating. They might think, well, what's this guy's got a chip on his shoulder or something? It's not that big of a deal. But just go out to the plant and spend, I don't know, a minute there, and it'll be a big deal. There's no human being, I don't think, that has a heart that can look at that goes on there, that killing and that torture and the fear and smell of death in the air and not be affected by it. In the end, when I left, they said, well, go ahead, go, because you're not McDonaldized enough anyway. What the hell does that mean, McDonaldized enough? It's like not Naziized enough or not... I don't know, not 1984 George Orwell enough. I don't know exactly what it means, but I'm glad I ain't and that I wasn't. I learned to put that makeup on in the back of a van in Chicago. A guy named AJ, who's one of the McDonald's trainers, taught me how to do it. It's very, very involved, and the makeup is copyrighted. You know, yeah, that's right. All the stuff is all sewn up, man. Why? Because maybe some lawyer somewhere anticipated that some freak like me would come along and, you know. So, I used to get in trouble too. I was kind of rebellious, Ronald, if you notice my zipper's down on that picture. and it was supposed to be up. But, you know, I was kind of like a rock and roll Ronald. You know, I wanted a little bit of rebellion. They want the zipper up, well, I want it down. And they used to, you know, I'd have like it was like the Army. You know, I'd have an inspection. They'd come and look and say, oh, zip that zipper up, Private. And they wanted curls in the wig, but I liked the kind of an Elvis thing happening there, the pomp, you know. So, anyway, that was me, folks.
Who is this guy? I used to be Ronald McDonald, okay? That's who I am. I'm an actor. I had all kinds of psychological tests, which I barely passed, to play the part of Ronald McDonald. That's who I am. I made the commercials. I did personal appearances. And before that, I was the marvelous, magical Burger King who can do most anything. You haven't been paying attention. But the whole time I was Ronald McDonald and Burger King, I was a vegetarian. I fooled them. If I told them, they never would have given me the job, you know. Yeah. I had to keep it a secret. Before I was Ronald McDonald, right out of drama school at the State University of New York at Brockport, SUNY, I auditioned to be the marvelous, magical Burger King. At that time, they had what was called the Burger King Appearance Program. And it was incredible because it was sort of the very last vestiges on the earth of vaudeville. They had a traveling stage, and you'd go I beat out, as always, many, many others for the role. And I went to, first, let me not get ahead of myself. I went from drama school with a master's degree in Shakespearean drama to playing the marvelous magical Burger King. And they sent me for 2 weeks training in Los Angeles at a famous magician called Mark Wilson, and I learned to do very basic magic, close-up magic, and all kinds of things for a couple of weeks. And then I was sent to have the costume made and the beard and the crown, and they had a beautiful stage that was pulled as a trailer, and it opened up, and they would take it to Burger King locations, and I would do a show. And I did this all throughout the Northeast, culminating at the Kennedy compound. Yeah, invited by the Kennedy family to do a show for the Special Olympics. As we know, the Kennedys are involved with that. And they were really cool people, all the Kennedys, I gotta tell you. They were real nice to me. And this was my first kind of gig. You know, after playing Macbeth, I do Burger King. So that was fun. That was fun. And I did a magic show, and it was to drop now. The sort of dark side of that was that was to draw people to Burger King so they could consume dead animals. It might be interesting, jumping around a little bit, to tell you how it is that I became a vegetarian in the first place. Because all the time that I was the marvelous magical Burger King and Ronald McDonald, I was a vegetarian. So I was 12, and I went to a health food store, and I saw a book by a guy called Hans Holzer that used to write about ghosts and things, and I think it was maybe something like Why You Should Be a Vegetarian. And I read this book, and I read it, 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 and I read it. And I decided, there were some recipes in the back, and I decided, well, I'll be a vegetarian, because this was like around 1967, and there were these things called hippies around, you know? And this was, among other things, hippies got up to in those days, and one of them was vegetarianism. But I was quite young. The hippies were like maybe 10 years older than me, thank God. Now they're all in their 70s. But I read the book about vegetarianism and thought, oh, that's a good idea. Don't kill stuff, you know? Jesus said, as you do to the least of my creatures, you do to me. So, well, I'm a hippie anyway, peace and love, we're not going to kill anything. So I just became a vegetarian at such an early age. And here I am at 62. Can't even do the math. Long time. I was a kid, and I read about vegetarianism, and my father was very against it. Like something horrible happened to me if I'm a vegetarian. But my mother was all for it. So I used to go, I even bought health foods, because it was like maybe one health food store in the state of Florida. I lived in Tampa. It was a very, very new thing. I got in on the ground floor of this thing. So yeah, I was a vegetarian for a long, long time. And then in 1970, I joined the Hare Krishna movement. And of course, they're vegetarians too. But they're lacto-vegetarians because they feel that the goddess cow is giving the milk and the milk. So I did the lacto. I must be honest, I was the Hare Krishna vegetarian for a long time. And I got very fat with all the milk stuff. I've had Old English sheepdogs since 1971 when I bought my first one in Seven Oaks, Kent. And they're lovely. They're little people, you don't realize that. They're like kids, and the kids, you put them outdoors and they think, why is Dad making me sleep outside? Bring them in. So I love animals, and I don't kill them, and I don't eat them. That shit is loaded with sugar and salt to make it taste good, but it's real bad for you, and it'll give you all kinds of terrible things like diabetes and make you obese. I've been living in Thailand for the 15 years. When I got here, I noticed, God, everybody's so fat. And it's those carbohydrates are killers, baby. So maybe better not to even, and especially the kids, don't do it. You want to do it to yourself, that's one thing. Don't do it to the kids because they call it a Happy Meal and put it in a little piece of plastic in there, and and they got a toy, and then the rest of it is ground up God knows what. I heard they put plastic in the chicken McNuggets. So no, don't do any of that. The advice is don't do it. That's the advice. Just like your father said, don't fucking do it. Life is short, yeah? And we go through this world, all bullshit aside. We go through this world for a brief time, and we can affect a change in our world. We can affect a change for good, to make things just a little bit better than it was before we came. As they say in India, when the yogi walks in the sand, he leaves no footprint. Meaning that we try to go lightly in the world and give and emanate harmony, compassion, and the values which sustain life. And one of the most accessible ways to do that is to not engage in the unnecessary killing of any creature. And for this, you will be rewarded with a deeper understanding about what life is, what your role in life, to life is, and if there is anything beyond this world, and the jury's out on that, none of us know, perhaps you'll get a brownie point there as well. Killing is a serious thing. You have not been to the Chicken McNugget plant. I have. You see? I've seen them put them through the machine, the little chickens. And they come out the other end with the, well, maybe you have seen it on YouTube now. But the stench of that place, the abattoir, the killing floor, is, you got to be there for like a minute before you understand that this is not the way to go. Anytime I'm asked to do anything about discussing my time as Ronald McDonald and what horrible people I met there, which was interesting because they had all the money in the world, but they were real pieces of work. They were not nice people. They were not cool people. And by the way, neither they nor Ronald McDonald eat that stuff. We eat gourmet at McDonald's. We don't eat that crap. That's for you and the kids. One of the things they told me when they hired me was, you're not allowed to eat this now because it'll mess up the makeup. And another thing, it wasn't animals. No, these hamburgers grew in a patch. Yes, the hamburger patch. And Ronald would go and pick them, and he'd give them to his little friends in McDonald land. And it was all a fucking lie. You see, it was a brainwash. It was the same kind of brainwash they would do and the Nazis would do. We're just taking you on a vacation to Auschwitz. You'll be back. It's insidious. It's evil. And it goes on still. And so therefore, whenever you get the chance, anyone will put a camera in my face to talk about it, I'm all in. I feel that I have a wonderful opportunity to tell all people not to do such stupid fucking things anymore. It's a terrific, great thing that I was able to be that. Think about this. Everybody loves the converted. But you see, like the Marlboro man. Remember at the end of his life, he said, I smoked all my life and now I got lung cancer. Nobody should smoke. But here's the thing. Take this in. I'm an actor. I was hired to do an acting job. I wasn't hired as a politician to put forward a philosophy or a program. I was just hired to be an actor and pretend to be this stupid Ronald McDonald character. Now, let's say I was hired to play a Nazi in a movie. At the shoot, they wouldn't arrest me and take me to the criminal court in The Hague because I was playing a part. That's what actors do. It's not that they are that thing, they play that thing. Now you may say, well, Mr. Giuliano, if you're such a vegetarian, why would you take a part like that? Because I needed the work. I was just out of drama school. I had a couple of young kids. I wouldn't do it today, but I did it then. But don't you see the wonderful opportunity it's given me to now speak about vegetarianism, veganism, nonviolence, compassion for all living things, which I wouldn't have had, and in fact, no one would have even given me a moment's notice had I not been Ronald McDonald and the marvelous magical Burger King. So therefore, I think it has incredible value. Don't you? One of the guys said, one of the licensees said to me in Canada somewhere, I was doing a show, he said, well, he said, you know what this is all about, don't you? I said, no. He said, the children control the disposable income of the family. So our mission is to get them thinking about McDonald's. So when that comes up, we got X dollars that we can expend as a family, that the kid says, I want to go to McDonald's. And what can you say? You love your kid. You take him to McDonald's and you feed him that shit. And it goes downhill from there. That was my epiphany. And I thought, well, no, that's bullshit. I don't want anything to do with that. I don't want to brainwash children. I don't want to be the minister of propaganda, which is what I was, for McDonald's, to make all these children develop unhealthy eating habits, not compassionate living, all the horrible things that obviously follow by engaging in eating junk food, which is based on dead animal bits and bobs. Yeah, well, I couldn't do it. You know, I just did it for a few months after that, and finally I went in one day and I said, you know what, guys? I can't do this anymore. So, although I was just an actor doing a role and I played the actor card, after a while it became like, nah, I can't do this anymore. This is too heavy. The cameraman, this girl, that girl, you and me are here for a second. Just a short time we transverse this mortal coil, you know? And we have a wonderful opportunity to make the right choice. You know, the right choice is always very easy to make. It's built into us like that. You know, your parents would say, you know right from wrong. And the right choice is so obvious in this sphere of human activity. Don't kill stuff. Don't eat junk food. You know, when people used to say, why are you a vegetarian? I'd say, for ethical reasons. Well, what about health reasons? Oh, I don't care about that. Ethical reasons. Why so? Because I'm a man of so few ethics that I had to zealously guard those that I've been able to maintain, you see? And no, this is not even really nothing to talk about. This is a no-brainer. If there was a PETA representative over there, maybe Pamela Anderson, I'd say, what do you do if a tiger jumps through the window? You know, and you can't run. You try to kill it, what do you do? But, you know, that's not going to happen. And so why don't you just elect the most nonviolent choice? Another thing I should say, that the manifestation of life is less developed in a vegetable than it would be in, say, an orangutan. You know, you're taking away more if you shoot the gorilla, right, than if you eat the rutabaga. 'Cause sometimes you get a smart ass who go, well, I just killed this potato, I just killed this carrot, ha ha, gotcha. No, I don't think so. Because obviously the law of nature, and this is interesting, that something must die so that something must live. Here's the trick. Here's how we win. By taking away as little of life as we can to sustain our own. The Zen Buddhists have a school of thought. It's called sudden school. If you're doing something which is not a good thing for your life, stop it. Don't do it anymore. What else can you do? You know, there's no 12-step on this. If something's not right, it doesn't feel right to you, you're not getting a good result, cut the shit. Peace and love.